Hello, my name is Joshua, and I'm doing a NOBA observation for the Social Work with Organizations class. My area is Dothan, Alabama. The history of Dothan is rather unique, not that complicated. Dothan is an area in southeast Alabama that touches Florida and Georgia in a very short amount of time. Kirkland in 2009 illuminates the point that Dothan was around before its namesake. Originally, it was a trading post between the Yamasee and the Creek Native Americans. The first name of the town was actually Poplar Head, but it had to be changed because another town in Alabama had this name first. This town was named after a city in the Bible by Reverend Griffin. Uh, by Reverend Griffin in 2010 states a city bus was started and ceased in 1945 because of the lack of patrons. Not that many people were getting on, and Dothan is a very small rural area. Dothan was the first municipality in Alabama to hire African American policemen, according to Kirkland in 2009. Dothan is also called the peanut capital because the soil is ideal for growing peanuts. Um, George Washington Carver hosted the first peanut festival here as well. Walker Journey in 2008 believes this is the largest peanut festival in the nation, and it takes over 500 volunteers to annually operate the peanut festival efficiently. My observations: Dothan City Commission in 2018 alludes to people from higher income having a shortage of housing, creates pressure for people of lower incomes and limits. These are prime conditions for gentrification to flourish. Dothan has a slow growth. I'm not sure if it's plateaued, but things seem stable. People rotate my neighborhood every year. A few move out and a few move in. People like the quiet setting of my neighborhood. It was built around 2005, and there's a limited number of houses. This is ideal for a sense of security. A few people told me they moved to my neighborhood because other neighborhoods were lacking in security and the neighbors were usually violent and or aggressive. Many people stick to themselves with one major exception: the mail. The mail people are always mixing up the mail and putting things in the wrong mailbox. People just, kind of deal with it. They ask around for their mail or make sure that the right person gets their mail. So sometimes you might be the mail courier for the day. The front of the mailboxes is numbered, or excuse me, are numbered, but the back contains no numbers to indicate who they belong to. The mail person loads the mail front to back, so that's the crux of the problem. Just randomly throwing things in slot instead of taking the time to go to the front, see what's what, or number the back. Also, my neighborhood could use a few speed bumps and a lower speed limit sign. The current sign is 20 miles per hour, but 10 would be optimal. The picture of the circle that you'll see shows there's not much room for speed, so there's no reason people should be speeding through here. The picture of the stop sign shows where the first speed bump should be. The other picture should be the location of a second speed bump. This could help save children. This could help save their lives. It'll give them a second to get out of the way if a vehicle chooses to continue speeding after the speed bumps and the low posted sign. Often children are playing outside because it's a circle and a closed community. Um, Often, they're playing and somebody comes around the corner and they have to run to the grass or something to try to avoid getting hit. Um, uh, and as I said, there's no reason for people to be speeding to just be flying through here. It's not even a through road, and all the houses are pretty close together. The school district has also been rezoned, and now children have an opportunity to attend an updated school. Um, and though their blighted buildings and vacant lots are a problem in the city, the area I live in has very minimal abandoned buildings. There's a lack of adequate stores within reasonable walking distance as well. Therefore, everybody must drive because there's no bus. There's not even really good sidewalk structure. The city does not have a source for mass transportation other than expensive cabs, they have a minimum fees starting at $15. Doesn't matter if you're going down the street or to the house next door, you're going to at least pay $15. According to the Wiregrass Transit Authority, I didn't have a date. They offer $2 rides anywhere in the city, but it's surely not enough to classify as a mass public transit, and it's $2 each way. The strengths: this neighborhood is small, and that means it's easier to secure. Many people only come here if they have family or business, and the police patrol intermittently. The circular structure also gives a sense of security from burglars. The community has trees that produce loquats as well. Many people come and pick the fruit when it is ripe. They make pies, and it has really good properties. They're a good source of vitamin C. But if you eat a lot of these and when they're very young, before they're ready, it does have a cyanide effect, so I would be careful. It's also peaceful here because everyone picks up their trash. It's not dirty outside, unsanitary, and no one bothers anyone else. So you won't have anybody outside just loitering and just creeping out your family. Um, and when everybody's outside, the interactions are always cordial. Um, the weaknesses and improvement would be reducing speed upon entrance to the neighborhood. Another improvement would be adding some diversity. This community is predominantly black and white, not much variety here. There could also be some type of playing structure for the children on days when the weather is decent. There's nothing here for the children to play on, so it's just playing in that circle. If someone wanted to move to this neighborhood to socialize as well, the neighbors to socialize with neighbors, they could be hard pressed. Not many people go outside or like to be around everyone else outside. Many people here just want to live their lives quietly and without anyone impeding on their personal space or their personal time. This can present as unfriendly sometimes, but there's really no harm that I've seen in living here. We could all band together to take our fight to the post office as well. Many neighbors know of the mail problem, yet everyone attacks it on their own or leave it alone altogether. The mailboxes could be placed in front of each yard to alleviate the courier's confusion as well. Um, Mail really is that big of a problem here. Um, some opportunities. The mail issue could become a potential point to unite everyone in the neighborhood. People depend on certain things like medication, gifts, checks, bills, and businesses from their financial institution inside the mail. So we really need that mail. The community could also create a park to give the children something constructive to do. Most children in the neighborhood are elementary school aged and play at separate times outside if they ever go outside. Sometimes it gets too hot. Um, a park would give parents an incentive to allow their children to play nearby and could also serve as a networking opportunity. So it's a dual purpose, and you're able to get that respite if you ever need it. And it's just good for children to learn how to socialize with people around them. The threats, the obstacles that stand in the way include the post office. Yes, you will keep hearing me chat about the post office. Um, a lack of ambition to change, the property owners, and busy schedules. Though it can be a sign of strength to have fresh eyes and experience in the neighborhood, this is also a threat to working on permanent projects. Many people know they'll be moving in a few years and do not want to make an effort on something they will not be able to enjoy. Um, it's just no one wants to get into the hours of time that it's going to take to deal with the post office. And the post office also has couriers that are constantly rotating out, and fixing the mailbox issues become tedious, and people just give in. Um, to get the speed reduced and or speed bumps uh, would be an issue to address with the courts and the city. This could get costly, and a source of revenue would have to be created to fund the process. Anyone could die if people do not stop speeding through this neighborhood, which is also another threat. Conclusion: I hope you have learned as much as I have about my neighborhood. A neighborhood is more than just a place. A neighborhood is the product of interactions with the external world and our own actions. We make a neighborhood what it is. Without people to bring out a part of themselves, a neighborhood is just a final configuration of building materials. Um, Thank you for taking the time out to view my presentation. Have a great day.